Okay, so I'm sure some of you guys have probably had a conversation like this, sitting around late at night with some friends, talking about the mysteries of the universe, eating some Skittles, right? And someone looks at a red Skittle and they're like, okay, so when I look at this Skittle, I see red. And when you look at this Skittle, you see red. But how do we know that the color that we're both seeing is actually the same color? How do we know that we're not seeing different colors, but we're just both calling it red? I mean, isn't it possible that the color you're seeing that you call red would actually look to me like baby blue or lime green? I mean, as long as we both agree to call it the same thing when we look at this red Skittle, how do we actually know that we're not seeing it completely differently? Basically, all that has to happen, right, is I have to look at this red Skittle and it has to activate my schema for red Skittle. And you have to look at this red Skittle and it has to activate your red Skittle schema. But we don't really know that we're actually seeing the same thing when we look at it. And in fact, we know from this class that a lot of people have different ways of seeing the world. Their senses are different. And this presentation is about one really different way that some people see the world. Imagine for a second that music had colors to it, or that the months of the year had a certain spatial configuration, or that the letters of the alphabet had flavors and textures to them. Imagine that you could literally taste the rainbow. This exists. People actually see the world this way, and it's called synesthesia.
So what is this tasting the colors of the rainbow? It's called synesthesia, and there are actually 1 in 100 people that have it. And what it basically is a blending of your different senses. So you have a cross combination of different senses that you experience when you see letters, or you see numbers, or you see months of the year. 1 in 100 people have it, and it's not a disorder, it's not abnormal, but rather it's just a very small statistic. So because it's roughly 1 in 100 people, if you think about how many people at LMU there are undergraduate, 5,000 to 6,000 people, which means that 50 or 60 people have synesthesia and are walking around experiencing the world with this color. One of you could even be a synesthete. So, this is how most of us see numbers. It's in a linear fashion, it's in order, there's really nothing unique, nothing special about it. Now, synesthete, this is how they see a number. They see it on this continuum, they see the different colors, they see the different spatial configuration. This is how they associate a number every single time. But this is just unique to one synesthete. They could see it like this, or they could even see it like this, which is crazy to think. So you think, okay, so they have all these different senses that are contributing to the letters and the numbers and the different months. What is their memory like? Is it just all jumbled, or is it even more sharp than ours? So, what's your favorite song?
Wow. Something by Jay-Z, I guess.
Do you know the lyrics? Okay, do you have a favorite poem?
I don't.
Does anyone have a favorite poem? Do they know all the words compared to their favorite song? Why do we remember lyrics over poems? It's because there's that extra component. There's the music and there's a different lyric. So because those two are there, it's more easy to remember. So for people that have synesthesia, because they have the different senses that are contributing to numbers and months, they can learn long lists of numbers, like we kind of talked about in class, or they can remember crazy long things because they have such articulate detail in everything they see.
Okay, so the next thing we want to do is talk about an experiment that was done with synesthetes, and this will sort of just help us to kind of understand a little bit more detail about what's really going on here. So, essentially, these researchers, they gave people this random color selector, right? I'm sure you guys have seen these on your computer where you can literally choose any color that you want to. And then they gave them a letter. So in this case, this person is associating this color with the letter T. So you get a letter, and you choose a color that goes with that letter. And the order of the letters was completely randomized. And they just kept giving them letters until they had gone through the entire alphabet at least 30 times. And then what they did is they compared the responses for each time the person saw the same letter. So, for instance, if someone like you and I did this, our results would probably look something like this. This is from one of the control subjects. So this is someone without synesthesia. And you'll see, these are the 3 trials, right? So look, they're choosing a different color every time they see the letter J. They're choosing a different color every time they see the letter G. And these bars are the variance. So this is how much their responses are varying each time. And you'll notice there's a bar for every single letter. Some of them are more than others, but it's pretty random. So this is their average variance down here, 2.11. Okay, so what do we think the results are going to look like for a synesthete? We've already established that they associate a color with every letter. So the hypothesis is that they're going to be a lot different. And look at this is a synesthete. Look at they're choosing the exact same color each time they see this letter, and it's in random order. I mean, this is just how they see these letters. They have colors with them. Look at their variance, 0.27, almost 0. And this result is not unique. I mean, we see this over and over and over again. Here are 3 more people from the control condition. Their variance is all around 3. Then here are 3 more synesthetes. It's all close to 0. Crazy, right? Okay, look at this graph here. So this just shows the distribution of some of the results. The people in this category are all synesthetes in blue, and we can see that their consistency score is always under 1, and then people in the control condition is up to 3. Their consistency score is all over the place, right? So the first question that people have when they're learning about synesthesia is, well, wouldn't that suck? I mean, wouldn't that be annoying to have all these like different like colors, and like you can't just like look at a color? There's like feelings and there's like sounds associated with it, and it smells like something, and that's just weird, right? But what we have to remember is that these people were born this way. They have been experiencing the world in this way their entire life, and they just accept it as reality, just like you or I accept the way that we see the world as reality. In fact, a lot of synesthetes actually die never knowing that they had synesthesia. They never realize that they are seeing the world in a completely different way than everyone else is. And if you really think about it, asking whether it would suck to have synesthesia is almost like someone who is colorblind asking someone with regular vision, well, wouldn't it suck to see all those colors everywhere you go? I mean, isn't it annoying to have all those like colors everywhere? Well, of course not, right? Because we're used to it. We just accept that this is reality, and reality has colors. Well, synesthetes, they accept their version of reality. They accept that colors have flavors and feels and sensations, and they accept that you can literally taste the rainbow.
So, you have the questionnaire that we gave to you, so now we're going to put your realities to the test to see if any of you have the potential to maybe be a synesthete. So, for the first one, we're just going to go through, we did a simplistic version. These are some of the questions that people do use to test synesthetes. Obviously, this is very simplistic, and we made up the point system. It's just a fun way to get you guys incorporated. So for the first one, how many of you put, this one was a Kiki? Raise your hands. How many put it was a Boba? All right. This is actually indeed a Kiki. There is a correct answer. So if you did put that one as Kiki, give yourself 1.
Is that interesting that so many people got that right? Sorry. That word just feels like sharper, right? It feels like it has a little bit of a texture to it, right? Well, synesthetes, they see everything as having a texture to it.
For the numbers, if you associated the same color with the number as in the second one and the last question, please give yourself a point for each color that is the same for each number. For this one, if you put that yes, every single time you associate things within arm's reach or miles away, give yourself 3 points. 2, sometimes 1, never. For this one, if it took you 10 plus seconds, give yourself 1 point. If it took you instantly, you instantly saw them, give yourself 4 points.
Does everybody see this? The twos are in a triangle right here. And we talked about the pop-out effect in this class, right? So we know that if these were a different color, they would really pop out to us, right? Well, keep in mind that for synesthetes, all numbers are different colors. And not only different colors, but they have a different feel. They have a whole different personality to them. So if you're a synesthete, these twos pop out instantly to you, just as if we were seeing them and they were a completely different color from all the rest of the numbers. So if you look at this and these twos just pop out at you blatantly, then there's a pretty good chance that you may be a synesthete. The next question is just the days of the week. So how are we scoring that? Just give yourself a point if it was yes.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2,
yes,
1.
Always.
Right there. So anyways, that's basically what we have to say. We have decided that whoever invented Skittles probably was a synesthete, because want to mention that from now on, whenever you guys are eating Skittles, we want you to think about synesthesia and take the opportunity to explain to your friends about what it is and how it works, and to think about these people that are walking around really being able to taste the rainbow. So,
Did any of you get 15 points or higher? So none of you tasted.
no synesthetes in this class, huh?
You guys are references?
In case you guys are interested in some further reading.
If there's any questions, we can do a question for a minute or two. Any questions? Or comments? Here, let me think of a question here. Yeah, we didn't really cover synesthesia in our course.
That's why we chose it.
Which,
for our topic.
yeah, no, it is a good topic. Did you read anything about any descriptions on the kind of if someone could like taste the color or anything like that?
We had a really cool picture where we actually took it off where literally they had the alphabet like on this linear scale,
weird.
and it was divided up with like I think 4 or 5 letters, and each one was associated with like earthy tones, and I feel more distant to these letters, and they're more associated with like infancy and like early,
Yeah, the middle letters
like,
were like
childhood.
middle adulthood, and the early
versus
letters
like
were like childhood.
some of them were
and,
bright
like,
colors, and they were both associated with like parenthood and like later adulthood, and they felt like closer to those. Like it was so crazy.
But it's like every synesthete has their own completely different way of seeing the alphabet or of seeing the numbers, which is what's crazy. But every time that person sees it, that's how they see it. But for each one, it's completely different, which is why we just threw all those different number lines on there. One of them goes up to 20 million, one of them goes up to 80. Like they're all different, which is crazy. But they're constant for that person, which is what's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I read something not that long ago about a study linking building blocks in infants with kids, you know, with synesthesia, because they're colored block with the alphabet letters on them. And it's sort of like a developmental explanation. It doesn't account for all of synesthesia, but the idea was that these infants being exposed to these colors and letters over and over, you know, seem to sort of hardwire their brains like a synesthete, I guess, right? Which,
I can see that.
right, sort of like a Skittles thing, you know. Right. Alrighty. Great. Thank you very much.